Hello and welcome to Active Bryant Systems. I'd just like to talk to you today about the London Marathon. The London Marathon is going to be on Sunday, and physios are really looking forward to it. The hospitals are really looking forward to it. Anybody in the healthcare professionals will be looking forward to it because lots and lots of people after running for 4 hours will have injury. And why will they have injury? One, because they would not done a structured program about 6 months before they do the London Marathon. And then again, a lot of them are going to be wearing bad trainers, so they're going to get splinters on the bottom of their feet. They're going to get knee pain. They're going to get back pain. They're going to get neck pain. They're going to hit the wall. So is it really worth it running 26 miles for charity in which to stroke your ego and do a run? Now, I'm not against marathon running if you're a Maasai Indian or you come from Africa, or your bodies acclimatized to that type of running. But what I'm against is people that do the London Marathon and they say they're collecting for charity. So they go and collect for charity, say for cancer research. Now, I'm 42 years old, and for as long as I can remember, they're doing cancer research, and they still ain't found the cure for cancer research. But we can fly to the moon. We can fly to the moon, but we can't even cure herpes. We can fly to the moon, but we can't cure AIDS. We can fly to the moon, but people are still smoking. So it doesn't make much sense to me why you would want to run the London Marathon unless it's just for ego purposes. To say, oh look, I run the London Marathon for 4 minutes, 4 hours and 43 seconds. But in that time, I trashed my knee, I trashed my back, and I trashed my neck, but I feel great. And if you see a lot of these people running the London Marathon, their postures are bad. They've got low muscle mass, high fat mass. They've probably been told to eat a carbohydrate diet in which to give them energy, which most carbohydrates like rice and flour and pasta will swell up your joints and give you more pain. The same as the footwear that you wear during the London Marathon will give you more pain as well. So my analogy is, if you're doing the London Marathon and at the end of it you have knee pain, if you look at this skeleton here, okay, so you got the occiput here. Okay, you've got the spinal segments down here. Then you've got your hip and your pelvis. And then you've got this part, which is the femur of the leg and the ball and socket joint. Okay, so if the analogy is that your posture's out, then your hip is going to be out, which is going to push that point out as well. So if you've not been doing any strength training in the gym to keep your muscle mass, running for 4 hours means that you're going to go massively aerobically, so you're going to burn your muscle and not muscle mass. You're going to burn muscle and not fat mass. I correct myself, sorry about that. So when it comes to London Marathon running, in my opinion, the reason why they keep it going is because a lot of professionals make a huge amount of money after the London Marathon. If you see lots of people, like I've been on the tube traveling around seeing clients, and it's been the London Marathon, and people have been getting on the train and they can't even walk. They can barely walk, and they're having to go home on their own. And I'm thinking, well, what happens if something happens to them? What happens if they really tear something and they're stranded on the train or stranded around London somewhere after this 4-hour torture that they've done on themselves? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And then when they if your knee's down here and you've got a problem here, which is coming from up here, then why, when you go and see the physio, they're only going to look there? Okay, and remembering as well is that you've got your organs here, your internal organs. So what feeds the muscle? It's what you're eating feeds the muscle and the joints. So if the diet is bad, as in more carbohydrate based, simple carbohydrates are not complex, and it's lots of white flour, then that definitely is going to inflame joints. Now, I found that over my 13 years of experience with clients, that most marathon runners will do their marathon prep work on a treadmill. Now, a treadmill is a flat surface. So as the foot hits the flat surface, that shear force is going up the leg into the hip and pelvis and going up the whole body. But my question is, if they're running on the treadmill to do their preparing for the London Marathon, then what is that doing to the whole body when they're not running around corners, you're not going up steps, you're not going down steps, you're not going up a hill, you're not going down a hill, and all that type of stuff. So really, doing London Marathon training on a treadmill is not the right way to go. And obviously, doing it, first thing in the morning, training for your marathon is a great idea. But what are people doing? They're only running for an hour when they're going to run for 4 hours. So how can they be ready for that run if they're only running for that amount of time, 1 hour in the gym preparing, when they've got to run for 4 hours? Now, that doesn't make any sense to me neither. The same as when they're eating too many carbohydrates in which to give themselves more energy, and then you'll see at the London Marathon they'll be supplying leukocyte. Now, leukocyte is full of aspartame. Aspartame is a neurotoxic chemical to the brain, or an artificial sweetener that you'll find in there, which damages the brain and causes lupus disease and lots of other diseases. And they're trying to they're giving you something that's going to give you energy that's supposed to keep you healthy. Now, that doesn't make any sense. If leukocyte is sponsoring the London Marathon, and lots of people are going to be drinking tons of that crap, as I call it, when water's much better for you than leukocyte. And now the adverts are saying, oh, leukocyte is much better for you than water. How can you get anything better than fucking Mother Nature? You cannot get anything better than Mother Nature. Can't people see that leukocyte is made by a company to make shitloads of money and trashing your health at the same time? I work out in the gym, and you go in the gyms and it's everywhere in the gym. It's advertised like chronic brainwashing or what, when you can just drink a bottle of water and hydrate yourself fully. They don't have leukocyte in Africa as far as I know. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I know that the London Marathon, lots of people want to do it and they want to raise for charity. Yes, I agree, and I don't agree with that. You need to research the charity. And if they've been researching, cancer for years and years and years, and they still ain't found the fucking cause of it, and they still ain't found the fucking cure for it, ain't they really wasting their time, 30, 40 years on? It just doesn't make sense to me that these charities are out there and they're still fucking homeless people. What is going on? Why is there homeless people and all these people are collecting for charities? Why are these people, you walk down, Leicester Square, Covent Garden, there's people sleeping on the streets and there's so-called charities collecting for them. And there's hundreds of thousands of people, getting cancer and they're still not being cured. But they're taking people's money left, right and centre, begging on the street. You walk down the street and somebody goes, oh, we're collecting for somebody in Africa. Now, if they're collecting for somebody in Africa, how come when we done Live Aid in the 1980s, they raised millions or billions of pounds for that, for Africa, but there's still starving people there? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's just begging on the street legally, as far as I'm concerned. And how many of the people that work for these big organisations are not driving Ferraris or Beamers or, live in a massive house? They get, they don't even fucking pay any tax, and that pisses me off even more. When I have to pay tax, but these charities, like the church doesn't pay tax. Why don't the church pay tax? They're not run by God. They're run by human beings, normal people, but they don't pay any tax. But they own all the land. But if you was homeless and jobless and you went into the church and said, "Can I sleep here for the night?" the door will be slammed in your face. So that's me just having a rant anyway. So good luck with your London Marathon. I hope you don't come away with a meniscus tear or a hip problem, or 10 years down the line you've got to have a hip replacement because the trainers that you were wearing were Nike Air and they were affecting your knee, which affected the hip, which affected the upper spine, and that you don't get lupus disease from drinking too much leukocyte. So enjoy your London Marathon run. If you'd like to comment at the bottom, tell me how mad I am or whatever, it's up to you. And if you'd like to prescribe at the top, that would be fantastic. I would really, really like that. I'm a bit out there and, I like to speak my mind, and that's what YouTube is for. So enjoy your